I have talked about this numerous times about my hijab. I never thought that one day I would wear hijab. And what have I learned from wearing hijab? Wearing hijab is a struggle. It is hard. It is easy, yet it is hard. Let me explain. It's very easy to start wearing hijab, and mashallah, you will fall in love with the hijab very soon when you start to wear it. I don't know about other people, but I started wearing it at 22 years old, quite a late age to start wearing hijab, because I used to be dressing very differently before that. I used to wear short sleeves, I used to wear shorts, I used to wear certain types of swimwear that were totally inappropriate and not compatible with my own ideologies and my personality. But then when I started to wear hijab, obviously I started to wear longer sleeves and longer sometimes dresses. And overall, I felt like it was a piece of puzzle that was missing in my life. I found that back with my hijab. Having said that, I did struggle and I am struggling even till date to maintain the hijab. Many times what happens is that in the beginning, when you start to wear hijab, you're so excited about it that you tend to feel consumed, kind of super zealous about it, and you will keep trying to improve and trying to cover up more. I experienced that my iman, alhamdulillah, was very strong at that time, because my worldly life was really in a mess, so I had no alternative than to kind of use religion and spirituality as my antidote, let's say, my escape, if you wish, which I did. So it did help me a lot. But there were certain points in my life where I thought that perhaps the hijab was no longer working for me, and that by removing the hijab, I would perhaps be happier, or people would love me more. And then of course, like, see the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like, even after removing my hijab so many times, I can promise you and tell you that there was nothing that I gained from removing my hijab. Like, you should not live your life in the expectation of getting people to love you. Anyways, getting Allah to love you is the biggest of all things in the world, I believe. Even if the whole world is against you, but you still have the love of Allah, and that is something, like, it is really huge. It's enough for you to be able to spend your entire life based on that relationship, I believe. And I think you need to be careful when you start to wear hijab, not to go to the extremes. Sometimes you become extremely religious, and then you start to criticize other people. Even if you're not verbalizing it, you tend to be very judgmental towards other people. And you tend to feel like just because they are not doing it and you are doing it, then you are somewhat superior, and you tend to feel bitter sometimes, which I admit is a problem with many of us Muslims. But we don't have the right to do that, and of course, we are not forced to agree with what other people are doing, but still we don't have the right to judge them, and we can't determine whether they are better than us, or worse than us. For example, for instance, yesterday I was in the supermarket. I was browsing some spices, and I saw that a woman was bending down to look at certain item on the shelves down, and she was wearing a very low waist pair of jeans, and a very tight red sweater, or I don't know how you would call it, pullover. And when she was bending down, I'm not joking, like, her underwear was unsure, her butt crack was unsure, like her entire, like, the bottom part of her body, like her butt, it was all out there to be seen. And there was a man behind her pretending to look at the spices, and probably staring at her inappropriately. But I don't blame the men as such, because as a woman, you have a minimum of responsibility in the way you portray yourself in society. I certainly wouldn't feel comfortable with that. I don't want a man to look at me because of my body. I think that's incredibly insulting and humiliating to me. I'm not judging these people who love to display their bodies, but I have been doing that also in the past, and I can tell you that it's a very disgusting feeling to have a man look at you with that kind of eye. It's not about liking you. It has nothing to do with liking you or loving you. It's just like a piece of meat. You know, you don't want people to look at you like a piece of meat. So I feel so blessed, alhamdulillah, that Allah has shown me the truth and has guided me with the hijab. Even if I'm not perfect and I struggle, it's not easy, especially when your parents do not support you wearing hijab, or they don't care, or no one like in your family or in your surroundings or in your country shares your understands your point of view. But still you feel like this is right, and what is right is always going to be right, and even if no one is doing it, it's not an excuse to not do it.